Om Shanti. In a small town in New Zealand, there was a young composer, a composer of music. His name was Jonah. He was eager to create his next big music record. He spent hours in his studio trying to create his masterpiece. He was surrounded by lots and lots of instruments. Sometimes he would get up and start playing the drums, and he wouldn't be able to find the right note or the right beat. He would then get up and start playing the guitar. He still couldn't strike the right note. He played and disapproved of what he was creating. And then he would start again. And days kept passing. And he started to get a bit disheartened, discontent. So one morning, he decided he's not going to go to his studio as normal, but instead take a walk through the city to clear his mind. And as he walked through the park, he paused by a quiet bench near a small stream. He closed his eyes and he listened deeply. He heard the soft splash of water in the background, the rustle of the leaves, the wind blowing. He heard the distant hum of traffic in the background. And then he heard the children laughing. But then he heard something else, something unexpected. It was the rhythm of footsteps tapping on the sidewalk. Not just one pair, but many, creating a subtle symphony of beats. He smiled. He felt content. He pulled out his notebook and he started to take some notes. And by the time he returned to his studio, he had composed a piece of music inspired by the rhythms of sounds and noises from everyday life. The sound of the city noises, the unspoken music that surrounded him. This piece was unique. It was unlike any other piece that he had composed before. It was full of energy. It had the vibrations of the nature in it. And he had created a masterpiece. Jonah realized that creativity wasn't about creating something new, but about listening to that already existed around him and just giving it a new perspective or bringing it to life. Same things go with us when we listen to Murli. The most interesting conversations amongst Brahmins are, the Murli was beautiful today. Each and every line was written just for me. It was so meaningful. But if you ask at that point of time, so what was the essence or what was the blessing? And then the same sort of churning goes on. Baba is always giving us the same message. Baba is always saying, oh, there is, you have to become bodiless, you have to become soul conscious. to have relationships with just one and none other, that we are all going to golden age, you know. So the interesting conversations of Brahmins is actually there is a lesson in learning for us. If you carefully listen to Baba's messages or to his Murli in the utmost creative manner, you start to hear Baba's Murli with a bit of visualization. You start to see how Baba is giving us examples from our everyday life. That each and every Brahmin, with us, so many of us in the world, how come Baba is able to touch us as if this Murli has been written specifically for me? Look at Baba's creativity. He's able to touch our hearts with so much love and energy that we feel that these points have been written for us. How can a human being touch so many hearts? It's not possible. It is Baba who touches us with his creativity, his ideas of how to remember him, how to churn his knowledge. It is definitely beyond human mind to imagine this. Isn't it interesting? Sometimes when we listen with creativity, we pick up on missed words. You know, you'll always see during the day, if you have got time and you reread the Murli, you will read a sentence and then suddenly you will realize, oh, did Baba say this in today's Murli? How come I missed this point? That's because we have missed those words when the Murli was being read to us. And how did this listening practice? I was feeling that I was reading Murlis and I was missing on points. And even during lunchtime, when I would reread the Murli, I would feel that I haven't done justice to the Murli. So, such experience of listening began last year in this Brahmin life when I started the study of Avyakt Murlis with the Angel of Shiva team led by Dr. Sachin. There was a huge syllabus to be covered of 1066 Murlis and a very stringent timeline. Lots of tests every day, homeworks. But at the same time, what got it going was the creativity methods, the various creative methods to keep us engaged and encouraged us that yes, we want to do this in a nice manner. So, to be able to do this, the first step was to make time. And my realization was that I had a lot of time wasters. Many things that were happening needed to be weeded out of my daily life. Scrolling on the phone, messaging, all these huge time wasters. And I realized that I had plenty of time. So once this was cleared up, the next was listening with creativity and adopting these techniques in reading out the Sakar Murlis and stepping out of your comfort zone. And everything just became so interesting, so full of, enthusiasm, as Baba says, have lots of enthusiasm when you read Murlis. So, just going to share a little bit of personal experience that in the last week, the 5 Sakar Murli, I have taken some notes down and I'm going to share them with you. Om Shanti. The first Murli, Monday, the 24th of February, and I adopted the story method for this. So I'm just going to read a few points from the Sakar Murli, and then I will share with you the story that was created. And during the day, as soon as the story came to my mind, I had a big smile on my face and I was able to churn very easily. So Baba goes, Om Shanti. The father says, Good morning to you, sweetest spiritual children. After good morning has been said, you children are told to remember the father. You call out, O purifier, come and purify us. So the father first of all says, remember the spiritual father. I'm not going to read all of it, just a few points. A soul is a star and is very subtle. No one can see it. When you come and sit here, you have to sit in soul consciousness. This is also a hospital. It is the hospital where you become ever healthy for half a cycle. And the Murli goes on. Baba talks about number wise and all those things. Anyway, so the way, Baba says to be very creative and to be able to write a story which is not a dull story, because who's going to read a dull story? Nobody wants to read a dull story. It has to be an interesting story, right? A bit of imagination, a bit of, wildness or a surreal twist to the story. This keeps our interest in, and for even after a few weeks, you will remember the story. So when somebody says, what is the point? You just remember that story and you're able to do a bit of churning together. So this is how the story goes, based on the Murli of 26. A young school teacher from Healthy Father's School parks her car and rushes to her classroom. She's running a bit late. She entered her classroom and says, Good morning, children. The children reply with a singing note, Good morning, teacher. Straight after her greetings, she gives her first instruction. Remember him. In a very soft but soulful way. Her voice touches all the children. Imagine us sitting in the classroom and she says, Do you know why we should remember him? Because all your sins will get absorbed. All, not just from this birth. She says, she sees all eyes light up. Very softly she says, even if you're very busy, remember him. Her voice deepens. She then hands out these little white counters. They are these little white counters. They are like a little scorecard. And she says, we're going to play a game. So what's this game? Every time you remember him, you get a score. But this time, the score is in reverse order. This is where it gets interesting. The scorecard is a viceless scorecard. So imagine if you had a backlog of 10,165 accounts. Just take a figure. And you remember him. Your score becomes 10,164. And then you sit down and you remember him. And your score becomes 10,163. And you remember him. So one cheeky girl in the class raises her hand to ask a question. But how do I remember him? I haven't even seen him. What does he look like? I'm so busy, I'm playing all the time. I have studies to do. I want to have fun. The teacher is a very knowledgeable teacher. She explains two things. She says one is a body and then there is a soul. Mostly, we just remember everyone as a body. We see this body and we connect to this body. But this new game that you're going to play, you're going to look at everyone as a point of light, as a soul. Something that is imperishable. The teacher adds that just to be aware that this is the only time that you're aware that you're a soul and that you have a body. And the only time when you're aware in this whole cycle of the drama. The lesson finishes and the scorecards are collected, and everyone is happy that they've got so many less vices left. So if we try and remember it in a creative manner, the story, it'll be easy to remember Baba's points, and you can put a little interesting twist to it. Then the bell rings again, and the next teacher walks in, and she's a science teacher. And she says, our school is not just a school, but it is a hospital too. As you're studying to become healthy by being a soul. And the class goes on. So then comes the 25th, which was a Tuesday last week. And the Sapar Murli, the way when I listened, in my head I was thinking, let me note down the key points. As we do, we note down the key points from the Murli. And in that, Baba was talking about Bharat is once again becoming heaven. And children who are constantly happy are intoxicated. Intoxicated, that is only very important people who are royal are constantly intoxicated. And Baba was talking about churning the whole day. And he was talking about many other points. So there were around 15 points. One of the points that really got me, that your tests should be interesting. And today when I was writing this down, what to talk, or tests, and I had a test paper as while I was jotting down, and then I remembered, and I was writing down, tests are entertaining, but that one test was actually bothering my mind. And I thought, oh, Baba had written this last Tuesday, but the real test has come today. So I have to find some sort of entertainment in this test. So the key points, the way, then once I had the key points listed, I divided them into 3 subdivisions. And what were the subdivisions were, what are my tools? I had 7 tools that day to churn upon. What should I check? And what should I avoid? So there was like just 3, the whole 16, 17 points were reduced to 3 things. I have these 7 tools. And from those 7 tools, I created an acronym, BDTEPSO, which is badge, discuss, test paper, exhibition, pulse, spin the discus, and this is 1DT University. And what should I check? How do I give knowledge? By looking at the pulse. One beautiful line in that Murli that stayed for many, many churning methods was, am I eager to remember him? That eager to remember, just like it was like, am I really eager to remember Baba? Or is it just a normal thing? And that was beautiful. Am I intoxicated? Am I really intoxicated? Yes. So that was these were the checkpoints. And what was I to avoid? Baba talked about Nirgun University. I think this is the first time I heard about Baba talking about Nirgun University. But I am a newbie, so I'm not sure. I'd not heard about Nirgun. That means no quality university. So Baba was doing a comparison. Then came the Murli of Wednesday, and that day I adopted the visualization method. So visualization method is a very key principle. Even as Lokik teachers, we are asked to teach all sorts of methods of teaching. Like some people are visual learners, some are kinesthetic learners. So you got to be adaptable in your teaching style so that you touch all the students in your classroom. So when you do visualization method, you bring your mind and your body, your intellect together, and you create a visual when Baba's Murli is being said. So you note down some key points. So the points that I noted down that day were shed old clothes and get new ones. So why are we getting attached to these old clothes? They're getting worn out as the body is aging. Let's have no attachment. And another point that day I was remembering was drama ticks like a louse repeating in my head. And I was almost feeling as if a louse is moving up and down in my head. So creating that visual effect. And Baba was saying we were lovers of one. So we have to be just have that visualization. We are just lovers of one Baba, just one, no one else. And then Baba was talking about in that Murli, people are going into the Ganges and purifying themselves. And Baba said, should you be doing that? Or should you be in remembrance to purify yourself? So this is classic example for us at this point of time. And Baba spoke about deities are sun, moon, and stars and give happiness. And that was a beautiful point. And to be able to create a visual of that, so easy. All of us can just sit there and imagine the deities being the sun, moon, and the stars. Baba spoke about the supreme surgeon. Remember me and I will remove all your vices. And you can create a visual. The surgeon is coming and he's chopping everything out, all our vices which are stored inside our body. And then he was also talking about the unlimited clock, and we are Shiv Baba's army. So easy to remember. Remember a clock. We are the unlimited clock. And we are Shiv Baba's army, or we are his supreme helpers. So we had to dress up like supreme helpers and always ready for seva. Another interesting method is called the Madhuban Pillars method. So let's look at some of these methods. Excuse me. So this particular method is one of my favorite methods, and this was discussed widely at the Avyakt Murli's sessions. And you know how we have the four pillars, Char Dham Yatra of Madhuban. But then when the Murli is read, if you put one point to a location, and this is something Sachin Bhai talks about, is putting a point to a location. So when during the day you just go near Shanti's Tham, you remember that one point. Then you go into the history hall, you remember another point. Then you come to Baba's room and you remember another point. You go to the kutia and you remember another point. And because there are many more points, you don't want to be going back into those areas and putting those points again. So then you make up your own points. Like, for example, when we were doing the Avyakt sessions, we were saying, okay, then Angan can become the one point. OSB, meditation hall can become a point. OSB reception can become a point. Om Shanti hall can become a point. Then Baba's room in the OSB can become a point. Likewise. So very quickly, Shantistam, we are sitting in the company of the true father. Just create that in your head, in the history hall. Only by staying in the company of the true father, the true teacher and Satguru, that you Tamopradhan souls will become Satopradhan. So easy. So just imagine I'm a new student. I'm just going into history hall. This is the first time I'm looking at history hall and I see all these images. And I'm feeling so like I'm in my colored clothes and I'm so full of vices and evils. As soon as I go there, that the true father, the true teacher, he just comes and converts this ugly into beautiful soul. So these points, when we put them in those spots, it just becomes so easy. And then during the day, whenever we have 5 or 7 minutes or at lunchtime, we just go and revise this. Oh, I'm sitting in the history hall. And then I remember the first time I'm going there, I'm in my colored clothes, and Baba has come to convert me into a pure soul. So points become so easy. Baba's room, satsang can only take place on the path of this knowledge. You're now sitting in the company of truth. So you go and sit in Baba's room, and there's all these souls sitting in Baba's room, and this has become a silent satsang. No noise satsang. Nobody is talking. Even Baba is not talking. Baba is also very quiet. But we are sitting in the company of who? In the company of truth. And when that flow of energy comes into us, imagine that how can you forget such a point? Because you have tied a location, a beautiful, a dham location to that Murli point. And that Murli point during the day when the churning is done, it just stays inside. Baba's hut, you children now know that you become 16 degrees, that you've become 16 degrees full. And that as you then come down the ladder, your degrees decrease. And suddenly you feel you're out of Baba's room, right on the main road. Oh, because all your degrees are reduced. Then you keep coming back and you remind yourself, when I was here 5,000 years ago, I was 16 celestial full. And now I'm on the street. Then you keep coming back. So you can play little games as well. You can become a little creativity. And think time, I'm not sure. Yeah, last time. Yeah, so there's lots and lots of methods. The 28th, which was a Friday, I didn't have full time to do this, but another good method is the division or the contrast method. Baba will give us many points. Children, do this, become body conscious. Become soul conscious, don't be body conscious. So you make a contrast list. What am I at this point of time in my life? I'm body conscious. I'm peaceless. And Baba, what does Baba? Excuse me, Baba wants me to become soul conscious, peaceful. Then Baba says you have to become accurate. The way you do your service, you have to become really accurate. Am I accurate enough? Am I pretending to be accurate? How close am I to that accuracy point? So when we start practicing these points in our day-to-day life and we maintain a small contrast method from the Murli points, it actually becomes like a little checking point. It actually becomes like a checklist. And to be able to remember those checklist points during the day, your creativity has gone in listening and then, even in your journey. So these were some of the trial and error methods of listening creatively. There's heaps of other methods, and perhaps if anyone is interested, I can share. I'm also on a very small journey, a young bee, a naive bee, so whatever level, Shanti. And I thought what we can do, again, another creative way, which is we can just pick up some points from today's movie. Okay, and then I can do a commentary based on those points, and we can try and do a small meditation. I hope that's okay with everyone. Yes? No? It's okay. I'm making an assumption here. Is that okay with everyone to do?
Yes.
Thank you. Om Shanti. So Baba's today was talking about devotion from the beginning. He said, those who have performed devotion from the beginning, those who have taken 84 births, will listen to your knowledge with a lot of interest. Right? Okay. And then Baba was asking the question, how would you recognize whether a soul is close to the deity family or far away? And those who will be close to the deity family will accept all aspects of this knowledge and they won't get confused. Right? Therefore, Baba was saying that when you give knowledge to anyone, please feel the pulse of everyone before serving him or her. Baba gave a very beautiful point here. He said, I, this soul, am also incorporeal and I listen through this body. And Baba was talking about the two fathers, how they are together. Right? You children know that both the fathers are here. You also know your third father. And then Baba was doing a little, number wise, even for fathers, which was very interesting. And Baba was talking about service. And he was talking about how do I know how many births I have taken? And it was giving us a very good, how do you calculate 84 births is really as accurate? How can I understand that I've taken the full 84 births? So Baba said that you will engage, you will listen to this knowledge in a very quick manner and you will imbibe into yourself, right? And this drama, he said, it continues to repeat. So yeah, let's sit in meditation with some of these points. And then let's see if we can experiment with the sound as well. Because sometimes the sound plays up here. Let's try. I'm going to reduce the background music sound and I'm going to try and speak over it by doing a short, maybe 4 or 5 minutes commentary based, just a few sentences based from. Do you want me to speak louder?
Yeah, so that it's clear.
Okay. I will do a test run first because the last time when I did this, it did not work very well. How about I increase my volume? I'm just going to speak over this first and let me know if this is clear enough. Okay. Om Shanti. I sit back and relax. Am I clear?
Perfect.
Okay, do. Om Shanti. I sit in a comfortable position. I keep my body still, my feet touching the ground, my hands in a comfortable posture that I don't have to move again. My back is straight but not stiff. My body is comfortable. I take a deep breath. I focus my attention just under my nostrils and above my abdomen. And I just observe my breath going in and out. I just observe my breath going in and out. I don't change anything. I just watch. Take my attention to the center of my all the tiny vital. I belong to Deity. I listen to the body. I, the soul incorporeal, listen through this body. The body is listening to all the noises but not participating. The noise of the music. There is a distant noise of a car on the street. I bring the attention to the center of my forehead, away from those noises. I sit on my soul seat. And I see the radiant point of supreme light, my Father. My two fathers, Bap Dada Shiva, the point of radiance, the point of light that is spreading love and energy in the whole world. This body has experienced three fathers. It's only now that this body can experience the true flow of love from the Supreme Father. The energy of true love and light starts to enter this body. And the whole body gets radiated with the purity of love, with the pure energy vibrations. And my body starts to feel the flow of energy in all my veins, from my head into my face, into my eyes, my neck, the spine, the flow of vibrations into my shoulders. And all the heaviness from the shoulders start to disappear. Baba comes and takes away all the burdens and worries that I had been carrying on these shoulders. I see the pure energy flow into my eyes, into my nose, down my spine, in the chest, stomach, and down 2 legs, till the bottom of my foot. I belong to the original deity. I feel purified and cleansed. I feel rejuvenated. I feel light. This body has become just vibrations, the vibrations of pure energy. I am in this benevolent confluence age. I, the tiny point of light, all the records of my previous lives. Baba comes to appear. me up from my deep slumber and gives me this knowledge. I understand the beginning, the middle, and the end of the drama. I can relate to the accuracy of the carvings on the temples, the kingdom of deities on the ceilings, the spiritual father's knowledge opens up my doors, the doors of ignorance, into this energy of light, clearing up my intellect. Questions, queries, just a full stop now. I feel liberated. I belong to the land of peace. I belong to the land of happiness. I am Baba's world servant. I am part of these vibrations of his energy. Shanti. Om Shanti.